Well, hi y'all. We're going to talk about anxiety today. My diagnosis is gender dysphoria with anxiety not otherwise specified. Most of my anxieties arise from external pressures, external stresses, people being assholes, aggressive assholes, uh, actively trying to harm me. And after you've been like abused all your life, there's a certain amount of paranoia and fears and anxieties that just arise regularly, easily, triggered, bam. I just have PTSD stuff. Um, and I'm sitting here um, dealing with a lot of negative shit right now, and my heart hurts. So there was this article that's been sitting here waiting for me to read it and maybe comment on it a little bit. Um, it's from Curious Mind magazine, published on November 19th, 2016. 11 things others don't realize you're doing because of your high functioning anxiety. Before I get going, you're going to see me go like this a lot. Because down in the corner of the screen is where my notifications pop up with tell me what it was. Um, Anytime you hear any noise, you're going to see my eyes. Just watch my eyes. You hear a ding dong. It's that Pavlov shit. You hear a ding, my eyes are going to go that way. And you don't have to hear a ding. If you see my eyes go that way, that means something happened over in this corner of the screen. Okay, so let's get going here. Anxiety can be very harmful, and it's not something to be overlooked. The worst problem is that a lot of people can't understand the effects that it can have on a person and find anxious people as being lazy, irresponsible, and passive. If you're not an anxious person, knowing this can help you understand anxiety a bit better. If you are, we are sure you're going to agree with these things. Decline invites, although you may want to go. Decline invites, although you may want to go. Oh, this is things that it makes us do. There are just times I don't even want to look at anybody else. I just can't handle it. You know, just I have to get away from everything. Get away from the computer, get away from humans, just get down with my instruments or my stones or something and forget everybody. There are certain days that you may have planned all along, and when they come, anxiety takes up the whole space. It can become so debilitating that you feel as if you lack the energy to go out. No, it totally lack the desire to face anybody. You're aware of what is happening to you, and you don't want to become a burden where you are supposed to go, so you just cancel everything. It's if you don't see me at the 420 show, it's just because I can't put a smile on. I just don't have it to fake it. Um, my jaw is almost always hurting, and I don't like to talk much, especially if it's not happy talk, because it just keeps hurting and hurting and hurting more and more. Obsess over trivial things other people may not even notice. I don't obsess over it, but boy, I get triggered easy. A simple word or an unintended glance from someone is enough for your head to start processing and rewinding the situation even for days. The truth is you obsess over everything that's happened recently or a week ago or any time ago. Really, no. That is like maybe I now. You stay in the now. You gotta stay in the now. Because you don't want to do that, because that's what, it just ends up, it's like all this baggage. You just keep taking on more and more baggage until you can't walk. You may obsess over a conversation you had, or the fact that someone hasn't texted you yet after a whole 12-hour period, or really just over the fact that some stranger looked at you as if they knew you. That happened to me today, where, I'm dealing with rebuilding my old public account list. I lost hundreds of contacts. Anybody that wasn't close enough for me to know off the top of my head didn't make it to the new account. And I I noticed today in a group that Veronica Martin and I were no longer friends, and I sent her a message and asked her if there was something I had done to offend her. And she didn't respond. She looked at it and didn't respond. And it was, 10, 15 minutes. I let it go by, and then something else happened. I forget what it was. There, the group, there's a suicidal person in there that's getting everybody real tense. And I shot back, well, I guess I did, and I'm sorry you feel that way. And no, she was in her therapist and couldn't answer. So she accepted the friend request, and we'll talk eventually about nothing, because there was, she's just one of the people that wasn't close enough for me to remember well enough to send her a friend request when I lost the whole list. Don't take it personally when I don't want to go out. That's Elizabeth Vasquez. Is that who wrote this? Who wrote this? Where's the author? It doesn't say who the author is. Huh. Go to bed late, wake up early in the morning. One of the biggest issues for you is certainly sleeping. Of all the processing in your head after the day, you find it hard to go to bed on time. When early morning comes, your anxiety clock starts ticking again and ringing several alarms to get things going, even though you are tired. When your anxiety is switched on by waking up, you can't do anything to switch it off, so you don't go back to bed. I don't get that way. That's one of my warning signs. I go all the way over the edge into a hypomanic state if I don't, keep a grip on my anxiety. And I have several stages. Right now this is me. I'm cool. I'm a little hurting here from a lot of negative energy, but I'm dealing with it, and I'm not over amped from it, which is the first stage, and I'm not zooming, which is the alarm stage that my good friends know. When they see it, they know exactly what to do to help me chill out. In every situation, the worst scenario is your biggest thought. Instead of enjoying the moment as it is, you can't help picturing and convincing yourself that the worst scenario is inevitable. If it's a first date, you're convinced that something will go terribly wrong. If you get sick, you always manage to connect the symptoms to the worst diseases you can imagine, and it's as if your mind tricks you into believing that nothing can go right. I got over that years ago. I know better. Just let things happen. Don't have any expectations, good or bad. If it's something heavy duty, it's a good idea to process it a little bit and make some plans for just in case, some contingency plans in case you are confronted with the worst case. You rewind conversations in your head over and over again. Boy, I do the best I can to just, because there's so many conversations. No matter how well a conversation went with somebody, you always replay that conversation in your head, fearing that you may have said something wrong. That's why you try to avoid confrontation at all costs. This constant rewinding seems to be able to haunt you until it starts chipping a hole from the inside. You always have to remind yourself that it's your anxiety talking, and that there is most certainly nothing wrong with what you have said in the first place. When someone shows concern about you, you become even more worried about the same thing. If someone notices that you're not okay and shows concern, your anxiety grows even more. Thing is, when you hear someone asking if you're all right, it makes you fear even more for yourself and your state. You think it has become noticeable, then there has to be more to it than I thought. This makes you feel worse than you did. You believe that you're to blame if someone doesn't reply right away. She was in a therapist's office. When communicating with people, be it your significant other, a friend, or a relative, if they don't respond immediately, you start thinking that you may have said or done something wrong. However, you should stop and consider that they may be in the middle of something that takes up their attention, or that they're just bad at communicating. Here's another quote from Carol Dittweiler Oranzi. It's not your job to fix me. Please just love me the way I am. Boy, that was a lesson from family class in elementary school that got burned into my mind. Is never go into a relationship thinking that you're going to be able to modify the other person's being to suit your expectations of them. If you don't love them just the way they are, and you think you're gonna enter into a relationship and change them to suit your desires, you're headed for disaster. You are experiencing a breakdown when the future comes as a topic. While most people look forward to the future and make plans for the future, your view on the future makes you feel intimidated and frustrated. Experiencing the present so hard makes you think how hard and daunting the future may be. This makes you retreat and hide from the thought of it. You always compare your success to others who are your age. Although you may not want to compare yourself to others, your anxiety makes you scour through Facebook and stay up to date with all the successful things your peers have done. Your worries are not that they have managed to succeed, but if you're ever going to succeed in your own life like they have. I don't give a shit. I really don't give a shit what anybody else is going to do. Enjoy yourself, whatever floats your boat. I was denied what I wanted to do, and I fell back on doing the things I love doing. And a lot of people think I'm real good at it. And I get a lot of pleasure out of it, and a lot of other people get a lot of pleasure out of it. If you want to call me a failure, hey, fine. You obsess too much over every mistake you make by beating yourself up over it. The worst scenario is making a mistake at work. The thoughts that will consume you afterwards are tremendously difficult to handle. Although you strive to perfect whatever you're doing, mistakes can occur, which is natural. Unfortunately, your anxiety doesn't know that. In such cases, it becomes your worst enemy. And the last one is sometimes you feel too mentally and physically exhausted to get out of bed. Yeah. Anxiety burns up most of your energy, both mentally and physically. That's why it can happen that you cannot function properly, and you just want to remain in bed and leave yourself down in the sheets. This paralysis comes as a result of the overwhelming experiences due to your anxiety. Bottom line is, you need to know your own bliss point. You need to know what knocks you off your bliss point. You need to remove toxic people from your life with no remorse. I mean, even if it's your parents. And just stay happy. Find things that you like doing to fill your time when you're not, instead of, I mean, this is why people sew and crochet and stuff like that, is to, blow off their energy into something, into creative objectification of the will rather than sitting there and eating your guts out with it. So I think that pretty much sums it up, and no need to go rambling off on anything. That was our little talk on dealing with anxiety. High Anxiety. that was a Mel Brooks movie. Maybe I'll go look for that. Happy day. Thanks for watching. Bye.